Hello and welcome to my show, my channel, Starmen Project.
All right, Crypt Keeper. Whatever you say, Crypt Keeper.
I'm Devin and I brought back Curtis.
Here to steal yet another show, maybe.
We'll see. The antics keep coming.
That's right, yeah. The hijinks never stop.
Yeah, so wanted to follow up with you on the monster designs.
Yeah, I mean, plenty to mention about it, of course.
Yeah, I feel like we could have kept going with that topic and probably done a whole entire channel on.
Yeah, go series by series. By all
yeah.
Yeah, seriously.
But the one question that eluded me was, why do we like the monster designs?
Yeah, no, it's a fair question, right?
Yeah.
Did you have an answer that you had in mind?
I'm still kind of thinking it, but I'm going to ask first, what are our favorite monster designs? Not just like monsters themselves, but what features of a monster do you want?
Yeah, so I guess for me, in terms of video games, and this is kind of more broad, but I always really like when they're well animated as an overall thing, and then beyond that, I really like the ones that are kind of go grotesque.
Yes,
I like anything that kind of deviates from the normal expected stuff. Probably a good example of that for me is one of my favorite kind of naming scenes, bestiaries in gaming is from the Xenosaga series, actually. The main enemy aliens from that series are called the Gnosis, and they're all called stuff like Goblin, Hydra, Ogre, insert fantasy name here.
Yeah.
But they're all like alien takes on those things, so like they look like it, but they also look like kind of warped alien versions of those fantasy things. So I think that's really cool.
Yes, that's
highly recommend looking up that series.
A series that's more like sci-fi based, but you want to get your
Yes.
fantasy in there. That's a great way of doing it.
It is really smart, actually. Like, it's just basically like you can tell like some nerd in this universe saw this alien and was like, that looks like what a goblin would look like if it were an alien.
Yeah.
And I think that's awesome.
You'd love to see the guy who actually made the bestiary. You'd be like, what were you thinking? Like,
Yeah.
some nerd is like, well, actually.
Yeah. Like, they discover this alien race and they're just like, well, this looks like a goblin.
Yeah.
Yeah. Like,
So, therefore, it's a goblin.
Yep. I love that. Yeah, the weirder the better for me. There's some other great answers, like I think people have really started to appreciate some of FF7's more weird designs over the years.
Yeah.
For such a popular game, that game sure did some cool things with its monsters, like the Hell House, like some giant ambling weird freaking house in the middle of the slums that just looks like something that was literally dragged out of hell as a house.
Yeah.
I love it. So yeah, for me, it's always the weirder the better.
Yes. I have to agree. Like, I love weird designs. As like, this thing has a scorpion tail, lobster claws, 5 eyes, and 5 snail-like eyes.
Yes.
Like, what's going on here? What am I looking at?
Yeah, make me question what I'm looking at. Give me something I haven't seen before, and you'll always have a fan for me.
Yeah.
It's why I like a lot of indie pixel games. I find that they tend to emphasize like big, beautiful, colorful, wacky-looking designs a lot of the times. Bonus points if they're animated, and I really enjoy seeing like if you're gonna make me fight a boss, make it big and cool looking. That's all I ask. And there's a lot of games that really go for that aesthetic. So that's what I really like to look for in monster designs.
Yes. I have to actually agree. I don't think I have a different opinion on that.
Yeah. And I know I mentioned Dragon Quest is kind of like the my favorite example, and what I love about that series is it just like, there's some traditional fantasy stuff like trolls and ogres, but they always have an extremely memorable like expressions and iconic look to them, along with like stuff like a living pair of bell peppers that are joined by a skewer. So there's all kinds of stuff like the sky's the limit for Dragon Quest designs, and I really like that.
That's fair. I think my sub favorite is anything that's like a household object turned demonic.
Me too. Yeah. Yeah.
Like mimics are kind of my favorite design for.
Yes.
Like chair mimics, chest mimics, door mimics.
Oh yeah. If you like that, Dragon Quest has your answer there. It has wardrobe mimics. It has wishing well mimics. It's got some really good stuff, actually.
I have heard it's like, oh, that has a lot of mimics in it, which is great.
It is. Yeah, and they all look so happy to be doing their job.
And anything that puts a sense of dread in me when I look at it.
Yeah.
I love a monster that just, oh, I don't really want to deal with you right now.
Yeah.
I don't ever want to deal with you ever, really.
The Soul series is really good at evoking that sensation. Yes. There's a few designs in particular over the series that stick out. Yeah. There's that one creature from Dark Souls 3 that they just kind of live in this side area, and there's these just like hippo-looking hand-headed creatures that just look like the worst things that you'd ever want to tangle with, and they like even have like a grab attack where they try to eat you, and it just I really don't want to be grabbed by that ever.
No.
Basically the whole idea there. They're like offshoots of madness, and they just look like these big, awful, ambling babies. Like, even the way they move, like, they just look like they're some horrible nightmare toddler.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And I think we talked about this on the previous episode, but for me, I like a monster that has more than just it's an obstacle in my way.
Yeah.
Like, there's a lore to it, there's a reason it exists, it has its own culture, it's also great.
Yes. It's why, like, if you give me a description of my bestiary, I will love you forever.
Yeah. And not just like this being set out to kill you. And
yeah.
Like, yeah, the goblin, it's a subculture of demi-human monsters that live in the forest, mountains, and caves.
Yeah, and they're all super pissed off. They seem to have like a...
They have a distrust of humans and are hostile towards them.
They almost seem to have like a society-wide inferiority complex.
Yeah.
Just because we're small and ugly doesn't mean you need to discriminate against us.
Yeah. Stuff like that. I was like,
yeah.
Okay, so there's a reason they're pissed off at me. They're insecure about themselves.
Exactly.
Got it.
you know, for some reason, poor old Dungeons and Dragons Forgotten Realms goblins always tend to the side of like serving stronger races and get pushed around and kind of take what they get. Poor little dudes. Makes you love them.
Yep.
And then it makes it even more fun when it's like a goblin hero, right? Like, it just kind of adds an extra bit of special to it. If most of the race is like evil within this setting, which is, kind of questionable, but it does make the hero characters in that race seem all the more fun and exciting to play with.
Yeah. That's the other thing I like about monsters, the wow, I can't say that word. The ambiguity of... Yeah. They're not evil, but they just don't like you or your heroes.
You're encroaching on their turf in a lot of cases, right?
Yes.
Yeah. It's not all...
You came to the goblin village and started wholesale slaughtering. Of course they're gonna not like you.
Yeah, of course. They're gonna take some issue with it.
Yeah.
Yeah, when creatures have like agency in the world besides just like a thing to kill, that's always fun for sure.
Yes.
And it's even better when there's different factions and some factions hate each other and they can even fight each other and not you.
Yeah, I think I've played a few MMOs with that as a mechanic.
Yes.
There, you can lead a monster to another monster and like we hate each other, so
we're
gonna fight each other.
Yep. I know the original Doom had monster fighting mechanics where you could trick them into hurting one another, and then they would turn on each other and fight until one of them died.
Nice!
Which is pretty rad.
That is pretty rad.
Yeah, it makes it so that, like, just aim through a fireball and hit this other guy, and he's not going to just sit there and take it. He's a demon, damn it.
Yeah.
You gotta show his superiority.
Exactly.
And get a bit of revenge for getting hit in the ass. Elden Ring, I know, had some stuff like that too, where there's like, this faction was fighting this faction, you can just let them fight it in for a while.
Yeah.
I
remember just coming up to like the troll versus like the little soldiers.
Yes, yeah.
And I'm like, I'm just gonna watch this play out and see how this goes before.
Yep.
Or there's that area in Caelid where the dogs attack the soldiers.
Yes. Yeah, it had a few little things like that to make it feel like the world's more alive. Because that's kind of what it does, right? It just it makes it feel like you're not the center of the universe and that things are happening despite you.
Yes.
Which I like.
forget which MMO it was, but I think it might be Rift, if that's still around.
Oh, yeah.
But I just found myself like wandering that world because I was way over leveled for anything, and more just watching the monsters do their thing and going in and attacking.
Yeah, living their lives.
Yeah. Nothing too exciting. I just was bored and like I want to know like what these do when you're just not there.
Yeah. It's become easier to represent, like it kind of given that the trend in RPGs has been towards showing your encounters on the map rather than random encounters. Like, obviously, if stuff doesn't happen until you randomly encounter it, then it's always just going to be, fight the thing and kill it. But sometimes if your game has wandering monsters, sometimes they'll just do fun, playful things when they're not fighting you. Like, I know there's been like some of the Dragon Quest games from more recently, like there's some of the monsters will just go and look like they're chatting it up for a little bit before you do any kind of encountering with them. So, like, stuff like that adds a lot of charm to the world as well.
Yes.
Like if there's monsters that you can see wandering around, they're just doing their own thing. Sometimes just minding their own business. Some of them, sometimes they want to kill you, sometimes they're scared of you and they'll run away from you.
Yeah.
Sometimes you're just literally going up and attacking them for no reason.
Yeah, they're just like chilling, talking their butt, and then you just run in, bam, bam.
Yep. And then who's the real monster?
Yeah. You gotta love a game that makes you question, am I the villain here?
Yeah, why did you do that again? Like XP, right?
Yeah. I need the XP and gold so I can buy better shit to fight the Demon Lord.
Yeah. No hard feelings, that little guy that I stomped all over to get there.
Yeah.
Yeah. All in the service of killing the big bad, right?
Yeah.
Yep.
We can justify it in the end, don't worry.
That's right. Yeah, it's fun we can do that.
Yes.
It's all good.
I'm trying to think here, but I guess we'll go loop back to our original question of why do we like monster designs?
Yeah. So, I guess you were talking about like mundane objects, like the Earthbound series is a really good example.
I love Earthbound
because
for their monster design.
It is so good, right? It's scalding cups of coffee, evil fire hydrants, taxis. Yeah, like anything that like you said, kind of takes the familiar and makes it something that you have to deal with.
Yeah,
is always going to win bonus points with me. So yeah, out there, mundane objects, cool twists on existing things, like I said with the Xenosaga series, those are all definitely highlights. I'm trying to think of some other good points with the monster designs that I tend to get drawn towards. The Megami Tensei series takes the familiar mythology in its own direction, where like it's just like creatures from all over the world can join your party, and it's gods and it's demons from Hindu mythology, from Japanese mythology. So like that is obviously really appealing.
Yes.
And then in terms of actual specific monsters that I like, because I feel like that kind of ties into giving examples of what I like. The Dragon Quest mimics, they really are peak. I love those to bits. I really like. There's a series that I grew up on called Commander Keen that.
This has been brought up a few times actually.
Yeah. Yeah. The bloogs from Commander Keen, Aliens Ate My Babysitter, they're just beautiful. They're one-eyed green slobbering things.
Yes.
There's a simplicity to them that I really like, that is just kind of ties back to the whole take something familiar and make it larger than life.
Yeah.
Like a cute little green one-eyed thing that runs everywhere and slobbers everywhere. Make it lively, give it some personality. That's all I ask.
So I'm going to switch gears because I love monster collecting games in Pokemon. We haven't actually talked about that, and that's Pocket Monsters, technically.
Well, hey, I mean, yeah. There's a whole genre based on it, right?
Yeah.
Yeah.
And in those games, I find the team really reflects the personality of the trainer or the player.
Oh, yeah.
So
it's a good way of expressing yourself, absolutely.
Absolutely. Like, if anyone's ever seen my teams, I usually have a few ghost types or dark types, because that's my favorite typing.
Yeah, if anything, I kind of overrepresent with that type sometimes to the detriment of the team balance.
Yeah.
It makes your team have a more glaring weakness, but hey.
I try to, like, balance it out. I was like, okay, I can only have one ghost type.
Yeah. Easier said than done sometimes.
Easier said than done. Sometimes I'm just fine with the dual type. I was like, well, technically he's sub-type ghost. He's this type forward. So
Yeah.
I'm covering 2 bases here. Don't worry.
Yeah. But it's totally right, though. Like, right, maturity is taking your favorite types and rolling with them, whether they're good or not.
Yeah.
Even if it's hampering you in battle, like, you know, I feel like kids more than anyone takes like a team full of legendaries because that's the big and cool and powerful stuff, right?
Yeah.
But the more you grow, the more you kind of realize your own tastes and just kind of pick stuff that you think is cool.
Also, those games do a fairly good job of you can build almost any team and still.
Yeah, like obviously there's tiers or whatever, but you know you don't have to worry too much about that. Like
you're obviously going to run into a few troubled areas if you have a glaring weak spot.
But not even normally until the end game, right?
Yeah.
Like it's you can pretty much get through those games without too much struggle, even with a bad team.
Yeah.
Or a team that's got a lot of weaknesses until you get to like the Elite Four. And then if you want to power level through that, even you can probably do that. But yeah, I really do think that that's a good point. Like the monster collecting games really do let you express yourself, and someone's team is a good insight into the sort of creatures they like.
Yes.
Yep.
That's why I like Pokemon talking Pokemon with people, because I like seeing what teams they build. I was like, okay, that's actually interesting. That says a lot about you as a person.
Hell yeah. So, you like the Ghost, Dark, anything else?
I'm trying to think. Waters? There's a few water types. I'm like, okay, I think you're pretty nifty.
Yeah.
The one that I love the most in water type is actually Wishy-Washy.
Okay.
Yeah, it's the one that looks like just a small innocent fish, but when it has full health, it swarms and gets a bunch of other fish to join in to make this massive, demonic-looking whale fish.
Oh yeah, is that from Moon?
Yeah.
Okay, I know what you mean. Yeah. Yeah, that's pretty rad.
Yeah. I also love a good fighting type, but...
Nice. I think I'd go with Ghost and Dark as well, but then also probably... I really like the bug type. There's some really fun bug types.
Bug types... I've always, because I played the originals, I was like, bug types were really weak in the original.
They were really weak in that gen set.
I am so glad that they've come around. I've gotten into some bug types.
Yeah. One of my favorites is Vespaquen, the hornet. She's got a whole hive in her abdomen, and that's just cool.
I like Ribrambi.
What's that?
The Ribrambi. God, I can't say that one right. It's like a fairy bug type.
Yeah, which one's that?
It looks like a small bee, but like in a fairy-esque form.
That was one of the newer ones, right?
It was in Moon.
Moon.
Is where they started. A lot of my favorites come from Moon, actually.
Okay, yeah. I'm not as familiar with gens beyond 5, unfortunately.
That's fair.
If I saw a picture, I'd recognize it.
Yeah.
But yeah.
I'm probably doing a terrible job of explaining it.
No, fair enough, though. Yeah. I feel like Gen 6 and beyond had some typing gaps filled in that were sort of lacking in previous gens.
Yes.
Which I am always a fan of. Like, you know, we got Fairy and we got, what was the other one that we got later on?
Steel.
Steel was Gen 2. And then Dark was Gen 2. And it was just Fairy that was added in Gen 6.
Yeah.
And then since then we've had some cool, you know, weird typings that we didn't have before.
Yeah.
Man,
like fire water is a typing.
Yeah.
Like
that's awesome.
Yeah.
So good. Yes. And yeah, in terms of other monster collectors, I haven't branched into some of the ones I really want to check out, like Monster Rancher. I've never really had a chance to mess around with too much. I did like that show. I
played the first game on the PlayStation. It was pretty good. Can't say there was any designs that really stuck out to me though.
Yeah, it wasn't as cool and varied as maybe a Pokemon. Digimon has a lot of good stuff.
Digimon, crazy designs.
Crazy.
I'm sorry. I will always side on Digimon. It's like, Digimon had the better design monster, sorry.
Yeah, there's just more to it, right? They're not really bound by the whole, like, animal-ish
Yeah.
or object-ish rules. Like, they can go a lot more human.
They're not supposed to be cutesy, friendly, cuddly.
Yeah.
Sorry, Pokemon, but a lot of your designs, when they start out, they're cutesy, cuddly.
Yeah. Yeah. And they don't really get into, like, the whole realm of, like, godlike alien conquerors as much.
No.
Which there's a lot of the Digimon designs can get pretty out there. Digimon designs just have a lot. They feel like they have a lot more creative freedom to it.
Yes.
So, gotta love that. It's sort of weird to say, but yeah, like they really do kind of skew more mature-ish than Pokemon can.
Yeah.
So, definitely valid there. Metabots, super cool as well. There's some more franchises like that I really need to get around to checking out some of the games for. I feel like Japan got a lot more creature collectors than we did.
Yeah, they did.
And I kind of want to go and play those. I bet there's a lot of good fan translations for those at this point, so I really need to take another look.
Alright, we got a little off topic there. We'll wrap this up real quick. So, the final question that we alluded still is, why do we like the monster designs?
Yeah, so what would you say then, Glenn?
I think it's just because it does add a lot to the world, and knowing the monsters really immerses me into the world. Like, if I know why a monster's in the world, I feel like I'm connected to that world.
Yeah.
Like, as if I did my field research, as if I lived in that world, and I was basically tasked with, go find these monsters, write this in your guide so you can bring this back and tell us what they're all about.
Yeah.
That's what I feel whenever I fill out a bestiary, anyway.
I think that's an excellent answer. For me, I think it's real simple. I just think that they're maybe my favorite expression of artistic creativity. Like, just seeing people stretch their muscles by coming up with something that's beyond the constraints of normal designs. Like, everyone knows what a cat looks like, or a dog, or a cactus, or whatever. Monsters kind of say, alright, well, what else can you got?
Yeah.
What else can you do if you're not bound by what you can see? So someone will reach out and, be inspired to take their designs in a more extreme direction sometimes. So that's what I like to see.
Alright, that's a really good answer.
Yeah.
Alright, I think we'll call that here, so thank you all very much for watching. Until next time, have a good one, guys.
Always a blast.